Hey, I'm Doug. Welcome to Backcountry Pilgrim. This channel is all about hiking, camping, and backpacking, and today I want to talk about my favorite trail. So my buddy Crow from As the Crow Flies Hiking tagged a bunch of us to do a video on our favorite trail. But there's a problem. You see, I live in California, and there are more trails within a couple hours of my house than I will probably ever have time to hike. I am within just a few hours striking distance of places like Desolation Wilderness near Tahoe, and a little-known national park called Yosemite. Now, when I first started thinking about where my favorite places to hike were, Yosemite was a pretty obvious choice. In fact, it seemed a little too obvious. He likes Half Dome! I wanted a trail that was a bit off the beaten path. Something that probably hadn't been featured on a National Geographic special and that people didn't fly from around the world to go see. So I'm going to do a special video later on my favorite hiking trails in Yosemite. But for this video, I wanted to talk about my favorite trail that maybe some of you haven't heard of. Now, as many of you probably know, the Pacific Crest Trail, a trail that goes from Mexico all the way to Canada, goes right up through the Sierra Nevada mountain range, which is the mountain range that I am fairly close to. But there are other big trails out here too, like the John Muir Trail and the Tahoe Yosemite Trail. But for my favorite trail out here, I wanted to pick something that was fairly moderate, pretty accessible for someone that was in reasonably good shape. I didn't want to pick a trail that was 20 miles long and 10,000 feet of elevation gain, because that's just kind of obnoxious. And although there are so many amazing places out here, one of my favorite trails that came to the top of my mind and kind of stayed there as I thought about it was a place near Sonora called Kennedy Meadows. Now, if you have done your research on the Pacific Crest Trail, you might be thinking that I'm talking about the place way down in Southern California that kind of marks the beginning of the Sirius Mountains on the Pacific Crest Trail. However, that is a different Kennedy Meadows. This one is way up north, between Yosemite and Tahoe, and it is actually not on the Pacific Crest Trail, although it's very close to it, and many PCT hikers yellow blaze their way over there because it is a fantastic rest stop. And it is actually part of the Tahoe Yosemite Trail, popularized in the 70s by Thomas Winnett. So I'm going to take you on a tour of this trail, but before I do want to mention that some people tend to get a little possessive when it comes to trails, and they get uptight when people publish videos like this because they think that we are somehow exposing the trail to more people than should know about it. Sorry guys, but I gotta call BS on that. We don't own these trails, we don't own nature. However, I hear you. I do completely resonate with the spirit behind the complaint because I don't want to see a million people out on that trail either. And I especially don't want to see a bunch of people that really don't know what they're doing and have no business being out there. So if you are new to hiking, camping, backpacking, welcome. Get out there and enjoy the trails, but please, learn leave no trace principles. I've got links in the description below to help you with that. On any trail you're going to check out, try to contact the local ranger station. Find out the good times of year to be there. Maybe try to go in a bit of the off season or a weekday. Let's keep the impact to these beautiful places low so that people can enjoy them for generations. Okay, having said that, I'm now going to do a bit of a dive into the Kennedy Meadows to Relief Reservoir Trail. Relief Reservoir is a 7 to 9 mile out and back hike with about 1,200 feet of elevation gain that begins at Kennedy Meadows, just off Highway 108 near Sonora Pass. It's a moderate day hike, but if you want to spend the night, a wilderness permit is required. I did this as a day hike in about 7 hours while exploring and shooting footage all along the way. Kennedy Meadows is a popular stop for those hiking the PCT and the Tahoe Yosemite Trail. Southbound hikers on the Tahoe Yosemite Trail leave it at St. Mary's Pass trailhead and must yellow blaze 10 miles down Highway 108 to where the TYT continues south from Kennedy Meadows Pack Station. In addition to being a popular stop for both PCT and TYT hikers, this resort, restaurant, general store is one of the best starting points for several trails into the high elevation sections of the immigrant wilderness. The history of the Relief Reservoir is interesting. A nearby relief camp and rescue mission sent from Sonora to the stranded Clark Skidmore immigrant wagon train in 1852 gave name to many features in this area, including Relief Valley and the lake known as Relief Reservoir, formed in the early 1900s when East Coast investors built a hydroelectric dam in Summit Creek. Much of this trail follows the road that was used to haul equipment up to build the dam, and if you look carefully, and sometimes not so carefully, you can find vestiges of this equipment here and there along the trail. One of the things I love about this trail is that it has a little bit of everything. There's a big river, creeks, a lake, big rock, trees, antique machines, and an explorable dam. You begin the hike with immediate views of the middle fork of the Stanislaus River, and you will likely see some fly fishing going on in season. This river, or one of its tributaries, is a constant companion on this hike. Shortly after you begin, you enter the first of the Meadows, a location so beautiful it was featured in the movie Mail Order Bride and many others. Movie props have been left behind, so no, those are not antiques. The trail then enters the emigrant wilderness and soon crosses a low bridge just before the first uphill on the old dam construction road cut from the walls of the canyon. Eventually you will see Kennedy Creek across the gorge, which flows from Kennedy Lake further up the canyon. Just around the corner is a second bridge which crosses high above Summit Creek. Lots of creek exploration available in this area. You'll then do some more climbing where you'll see some of the construction equipment like a steam-powered winch, also known as a steam donkey, that was used to drag supplies and equipment up the steep granite road. This will not be the last piece of equipment that you see on the trail. You will continue to go up several switchbacks, and once you top the ridge, you'll have your first view of the Relief Reservoir, and then it will be decision time. There are a couple good destinations from this point: the dam itself and the lake campsites. You can choose one or the other, or see both, and in either order. The dam is closer, so if you're looking for a turnaround point, this would be a good one. But be sure to explore the structure. It's pretty impressive. The area around the dam is also pretty interesting, as it contains a lot of the old equipment. There's even an old powder room dug right into the mountain itself. The campsite areas are along the shoreline about a mile away, just past Grouse Creek. There are several, they are very pretty, and you can go right down to the water. I went to the campsites first, had my lunch, and then explored the dam on my way back. If you choose to do the same, the trail traverses up the slope high above the lake, and then turns downhill to Grouse Creek. You will need to cross Grouse Creek, which can be tricky at certain times. There are numerous logs across the creek, but it sometimes forms a sort of maze that you need to walk across to get through without getting wet. Once you are across the creek, you can pretty much turn right anytime and just head toward the lake. When I returned, I went down to the dam. I was so glad that I took the time to explore both the structure and the surrounding landscape. You can find all kinds of old machinery laying around the area, climb up staircases along the outlet, and, if you're lucky, the old powder room cave that you may find on your way out. When you finish your exploring, just do the hike in reverse, and you will end up back at Kennedy Meadows General Store and Restaurant. If you hike between late April and Columbus Day, be sure to leave time for burgers. Okay, so there you have it. That is the Kennedy Meadows to Relief Reservoir Trail, one of my favorite trails in Northern California. If you're a hiker and you have a YouTube channel, why don't you do a video like this and tag it with the hashtag #MyFavoriteTrail. All of us can use help finding new, beautiful places to explore, and it would be great if you joined us in that project. And make sure you check the description of the video below for links to other My Favorite Trail videos that launched this project, and in the future, if I find any more with the hashtag, I'll add them into this description as well. I want to give a special shout out to my buddy Crow at As the Crow Flies Hiking. If you have not seen his channel, check him out, subscribe. He is a great guy. 100% genuine, 100% the real deal. And he even does his own music for his videos. All right, I hope you found this video entertaining and informational. If you did, would you mind giving it a like? I'd appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed to Backcountry Pilgrim, if that button down below this video is bright red, why don't you click that? And when you subscribe, be sure to click that bell so that YouTube will let you know when my new videos come out. Until next time, I'm Doug. This is Backcountry Pilgrim. Thanks for watching.